Elhan Shaw here, your friendly local constitutional coop from California. And this video is directed to BLM, Black Lives Matter, the ACLU, the NAACP, and like civil rights advocates. And this is from someone who can easily be regarded as a flaming white supremacist. But as you're going to learn, that's the winning issue. You have to get off all this 14th Amendment bullshit and birthright citizenship, which if you haven't noticed lately, Trump has issued executive orders as the president acting as commander-in-chief of the armed forces, who's in total control of that body politic, quote unquote. And that doesn't work for anybody. Trump knows that, by the way. Bondi knows it, and the current justices of the U.S. Supreme Court know it as well. And these are the kind of issues we have to get before them to have what the justices will recognize as an appropriate case. Once that starts to happen, and we're in a window of opportunity we haven't had in 150 years here, especially when we get younger justices on the court. And I'm looking, by the way, for 2, maybe 3 retirements in June at the end of the court's current term here. Because when the shit hits the fan, it's going to be very ugly. And even that court's going to have to acknowledge it's been a big part of the problem, which is true. Not in the last 5 years so much. They're starting to come around and acting like a judicial court. And that's where we have the opportunity to get in and make differences, not only for us, but for your families and your posterity. That's a priceless gift given to us by those racist framers of the Constitution back in the day. When they ordained and established this Constitution, He's declared the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity. Not SafeBank, not IBM, not Microsoft. Us. We own the damn place. So that's the good news. And when we get back to that point in time, that's our federated Republican form of government of defined and limited powers. Not today's much ballyhoo democracy, aka free wolves and critique voting on what's for dinner. There are lawful ways we can add to the body politic, but nothing remotely like that happened during Reconstruction or at any time else, as you will learn. Send me an email, by the way, youwinnincourt at gmail.com, and you'll learn a lot more about this and why we should all be working together. And that's the one thing they can't have. And that's the main reason that the New York banksters at all try to keep us all separated from each other. And they go out and stage events like in Akron, Ohio, where 8 law enforcement shoot Jalen Walker in the back 48 times during the course of a traffic stop over which the court wouldn't have had jurisdiction. And none of these bastards gets indicted for even involuntary manslaughter, when you and I all know they should be out there on death row, first degree murder. And we start using the right issues and the right arguments and get in front of lawful juries. That's exactly what's going to happen, and it's going to bring this mess to an end. And that's exactly what needs to happen. And by the way, I'm willing to bet you at least 5 or 6 of these law enforcement thugs are also ex-military, who, with the mind control they apply to these poor bastards these days, probably can't tell the difference between Kabul, Afghanistan, and Kalamazoo, Michigan. But these are the changes that need to come here. And we get back our nation and republic, we can make changes and do it right and create even a better government than what we had earlier on in the mid-19th century, for example. And no, it wasn't a perfect government. I get that. But only the best one ever created. We want it back. And we can go from there and do it right. And everyone benefits here, especially with the reform of the public education system. I'll be talking more about that in an upcoming video. And you're going to love this one too, because what the crap they're teaching in schools these days, where a 9-year-old third grader can stand up and say, "Oh, God made an error when I was born," I was born a boy, but I should be a girl. All this transgender crap and other civil rights. And the main objection to all of this is that you have to rely on Section 5 of the 14th Amendment if you have any of those rights at all. And that invokes federal, regional, martial law rule, which is why Trump is issuing those executive orders as president. He knows the agenda. He knows it's going to take some waking up for the American people to understand it. But he knows, the current justices know, as you will learn. Send me an email, youwinnincourt@gmail.com. It's absolutely stunning. But all of it's there. You just have to be able to learn, understand, and go from there. And in my case, growing up all those decades ago in Washington, D.C., for crying out loud, or actually right outside of there, I didn't learn jack shit either. Much better education in many ways, but not in this area. And that's what we have to get out there and do and work together. You can learn how to do that. Send me an email, youwinnincourt@gmail.com, and we can go from there. And everybody is going to benefit. And we get our government back, and at the same time, set an example for other nations of the world and say, look what we just did here. Now, to be sure, you don't have the Constitution we had, but you have the power and the privilege to do the same thing in your nation. And let more nations do exactly what we're doing. Get back to that Republican form of limited government in Washington, D.C. So almost everything is not only done in sovereign, independent states admitted into this union, but quite a lot of that is on the local level, county and city, especially education. These are important changes that must come if we're going to survive here. And I've devoted my entire life to it. And I don't regret a minute of it. It made for a very odd lifestyle for me, to be sure. You'll learn more about that too. Send me an email, youwinnincourt@gmail.com. But once you get it and understand it, and I didn't get it overnight either, by the way, but I did finally. I mean, I was so ignorant back in the day. What did I do? I volunteered in the U.S. fucking Marine Corps at the height of the 10 offensives in the Vietnam War. And my mom and dad took me over to Baltimore, Fort Hollywood, to go to Paris Island. I never made it. As the sergeant looked up, took one look and said, if you lose your glasses, how will you know who to shoot? I didn't know the right answer then. But what I should have said, as I learned later, was no problem. Give me an M16, point me back to Washington, D.C., the White House, landslide, Lyndon Johnson, and I'll take care of it. But that's back in the day. I've learned a lot since. I want to help teach you a lot. And so you can make adjustments in your lives and benefit your children and your posterity. Send me an email, youwinnincourt@gmail.com. We can talk seriously about it. And we're going to make a great team working together, because all of us together, Asians and Africans and what have you, that's what they can't stop. And it's going to make a big difference. And I hope I live long enough to see it. Here I am, I'll be 77 later this year, but an excellent, divine, branded health that I'm thankful for every day, plus the gift that I've gotten to know my subject matter. I'm an a cappella expert witness command of 230 years of the Constitution, history, and laws of the United States. To learn more, send me an email, youwinnincourt@gmail.com, and we can start working together, get the truth out there, and get our rights back. Thank you.